Hi everybody, it's Thursday, it's the 1st of July 2021, it's almost the 4th of July, and tonight we're going to make strawberry shortcake, which is the perfect 4th of July dessert. I'm going to actually get right into it so I can be working on the dough while I babble at you about upcoming events and so on. So if you have the recipe, you can make this along with me. If not, feel free to re-watch this whenever you want. I'm just going to glove up so I don't have to go wash my hands and haul Heather and the camera along with me and my microphone. Just keep my hands a little cleaner. And I am starting out with 2.5 cups of whole wheat flour, and I put a 1/2 cup of white flour in here. The reason is that whole wheat flour is not quite as absorbent, so you'll end up with a wetter dough. So if you're just using whole wheat, which you can, maybe use a little bit less of the milk or buttermilk and just add it. If you need more to make it wetter, you can just add it as you go along. You can, if you don't like the whole wheat, which a lot of people don't, it's just too much, you can cut back to half and half whole wheat, half white, or just make this with just white flour, in which case you just want 2.5 cups of flour, not 3 total cups. To this, I'm going to add some sugar, some salt, some baking powder, and some baking soda. I'm going to plop that in there. And on the recipe, it says to add your orange zest. I'm just adding this for some flavor. You definitely don't need to add this if you don't want to, but it adds a really nice flavor. On the recipe, it says to add this with the buttermilk, but I'm going to add it right now so that I can kind of toss it around so it won't be quite as clumpy. So we're just going to kind of work that into the flour so that there's a little bit of orange zest in all of our biscuits instead of one big clump in 1 or 2 of them. So there's that, and you'll see if you've never made biscuits before, this is a really pretty straightforward recipe, and it's really not hard. I like using my hands. You can use a stand mixer or you can use a food processor. I would recommend doing it by hand the first few times until you get used to the consistency of the dough before you add the milk to it, because you don't want to overmix it or you'll have really kind of chewy biscuits instead of nice light fluffy biscuits. So our butter, we want it super cold. This has been out for about 10 minutes just so I didn't forget it like I usually do, and it's already kind of soft, but you want yours right out of the fridge, especially in this hot weather that we've been having. And cut it just into little cubes. And again, we'll toss these to start with. We're just going to toss and break them up into their cubes. They're kind of sticky. And then we're just going to start working the dough into it. So I'm just kind of squeezing it a little and kind of rubbing the dough. And we're going to just keep doing this. You can also use a pastry cutter, by the way, which is those kind of half moon things. Heather's going to hand me one, which I'm going to get all floury. So this is a pastry cutter, pastry blender, and you can use that if you don't want to use your hands. You can also use a fork. So we're going to get this going here, and I will tell you what we have coming up for the rest of the month, which is mostly full of really Maine-y, summery, yummy stuff. So we've got the strawberry shortcake tonight. Next week we are going to make panzanella, which is actually not Maine, it's Tuscan, but it is a tomato and bread salad, and we're going to use lots of other veggies in it too. So you can make it with any kind of vegetables that you have in your garden. You definitely want the tomatoes because you want the juice from the tomatoes. But it's really yummy and really fresh, and it makes a good entree. You can even add some cheese or some meat to it if you want. So we'll be doing that next week. Then we have Chris Toy on the 15th. He has book number 5 out. He's been doing this cookbook thing for about a year or so, and he's already got his 5th book out, which is really cool. It's another stir-fry book. It is a stir-fry for beginners, so he's going to go through some of the basics of stir-frying and using a wok. And then the week after that, we have Meg Barker from Embark Tours, and we're going to make a lobster thermidor, and this is a recipe from Heather's Nana Martha, and they have it every year for Christmas or New Year's, Christmas. And so we're going to make lobster thermidor, which will be fun. And then at the end of the month, we have a summer trifle, and we're going to do berries or fruit again for that. So we're getting good here. We're coming along. You can see it's kind of getting flaky looking, and that is the butter. There's still a few chunks. I'm going to keep working it, but we're getting close. I don't know how well you can see that texture, but it's looking pretty good. Meanwhile, we have strawberries from Gorenson's farm. If you want to go pick, you can pick your own, I believe, at Gorenson's. They also have these down at Bath Natural Market, right down the street from us on Center Street. And the strawberries right now are amazing. Maine strawberries are so sweet and delicious and just taste like summer. And what I've done is I've added just a little bit of sugar just to get, you can see by adding the sugar, you get kind of a nice thick syrup. It allows the juice to come out of the fruit, and it adds a little bit of sweetness. Not enough to overpower it, but enough to really bring out that really nice strawberry flavor. You can also use blueberries. You can use raspberries, blackberries, a mixture of berries. You could use peaches for a peach shortcake. Just use your imagination. Anything that's fresh, cherries, plums, anything that you want. The key is you do want to have a little bit of syrup. Otherwise, your biscuits, even if you use regular white flour, not whole wheat, your biscuits are going to be a little dry. So you need to have something wet in there to kind of make them a little, I don't want to say soggy, but a little softer, a little nicer. There's something else I was just about to say. Fruit, berries. Oh, if you don't want to do sugar, you can always just add a little bit of orange juice to your berries, but just do let them marinate a little bit because you want to bring out some more of their natural juices. Okay, I think we're pretty good here. And again, I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can see that this is, it almost looks like coarse cornmeal. It doesn't look like flour. It's a little chunkier than flour, a little coarser than flour. So that is good. I'm going to make a little hole here. And I'm using buttermilk. You can use any kind of milk, including a soy milk or oat milk or almond milk or coconut milk, whatever you want. I like the tartness of buttermilk, so that's what I'm using. And again, we're just going to gently mix this. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you about these awesome wines we have that are blueberry wines, and they are called Blewett is the company. They have two styles. One is the Charmat. They're both sparkling wines. The Charmat is, sorry, I'm going to read this because I don't know anything. They are both made from 100% Maine wild blueberries. The champagne method has a secondary fermentation in the bottle, followed by a disgorging à la volée to expel the yeast. The Charmat method is the way that they make Prosecco, and that takes place in the tank prior to filling the bottles. And that one's a little less fizzy, a little less than the champagne method. And they're both fabulous. And we just got in the cans, these adorable little cans. And I believe that's the Charmat. Is that right? Does it say? Anyway, those are great for taking on a picnic or out on the boat or whenever you want some, but you don't want to open a whole bottle. It's a really good option. So those are really great. The Charmat method is $19.99 and the champagne method is $31.99, and they're both really great. Chill them a little bit and you will love them. It's also a nice gift to take if you need a housewarming or a hostess gift or whatever. So I'm just going to mix this just a little bit more by hand. I don't want it too dry. I want it all kind of mixed in. And then I'm going to flatten this out just with my hands. And this is a really nice consistency. It's wet, but it's not super, super wet. And I'm going to fold this like a business letter. And then I'm going to press it down gently but firmly. And this is going to help make some layers and make it a little bit flakier. Your whole wheat flour they're always going to be a little bit less flaky than the all-purpose, but they're still really good, and that nice sweet wheat flavor is really nice with the berries, and especially with the orange in there. And you can have these for breakfast or however you want to eat them. Okay, last time, and now I'm going to flatten this out to about 1 inch or so thick. And I am going to cut, you can cut these into whatever shape you want to. I'm going to just cut regular old round biscuits. And they don't have to be absolutely gorgeous because you're going to be cutting them and filling them with strawberries and whipped cream. So you can see this is really a very quick recipe. You may want to double this. This makes about 7 or 8 biscuits, and you may want to double it if you have a lot of people coming. You can freeze these and bake them the next day or bake them anytime. You just want to freeze them flat on a sheet pan. And here we're going to just make a mutant biscuit with the last of our dough. Stick that in there, and we're going to put these in the oven at 425 for about 15 minutes. You want them to be golden brown. You're going to need to check the bottoms of these because they're whole wheat. They're not going to brown the same way as a white flour. So after 15 minutes, check the bottom because you don't want to overcook them either. So I'm going to slide this in the oven. And like I said, 15 minutes. I think it's been about 15 minutes, hasn't it, Heather? Yeah. So I'll just take these out of the oven. And look at that, I don't even need pot holders. So I neglected to grab myself a plate or a bowl, so we'll just use a gigantic plate for our demonstration. Okay, so we have our beautiful biscuits. We have our strawberries already. So I'm going to cut this in half, and I'm going to put it cut side up, and I'm going to spoon on some berries. And don't worry about the dribbles, it's all artistic and beautiful. Or so I like to tell myself. I'm going to make sure we get some juice in there. And then I'm going to use this easy ISI whipped cream maker, which is really awesome. You can just put your cream in there and it'll last several days. And it uses a NO2 cartridge. And we are going to, ooh, whoa. That looks like the perfect amount of whipped cream. I'm going to put my other biscuit cut side up as well because I want to soak up some of the juices, and we're going to do this again. This is bigger than I would probably eat, but trust me, your guests are going to love it. And we're going to try to make this a little bit more beautiful. Look at that. And I'm going to, with my microplane and my orange, I'm going to just zest a little bit on top like that. And voila, take it from that side because this side's messy. And that is it. That is dessert. You want to make sure that you're putting it together right before you serve it. You can do the berries even a day ahead. They're going to be a lot juicier. These, because they're so fresh from Gorenson's, I would just do them maybe an hour or two ahead with just a little bit of sugar. I think I might have said 2 tablespoons. You can use a little bit less sugar than that because these are so fresh and delicious. The whipped cream, easy peasy. The biscuits are great if you serve them warm, but you don't have to. You could make them a day ahead as well. They're going to be a day ahead. They'll be on the stale side, but you can put them in the oven for a few minutes just to reheat them. Or you can make them fresh right before you're going to serve them. And there you have it, the perfect dessert, Maine dessert for the 4th of July. It's colorful, it's delicious, it's fresh, and I hope you have a great holiday. We are going to be closing at 2 o'clock on Sunday the 4th. We will be open, but we'll be closing at 2. And every other day, we're here for you from 10 to 5. And hope to see you soon. Thanks for joining us.